Coming up on Quays News today.
Salford International Media Festival brings big names to the northwest.
And dude, where's my the worst Christmas film ever?
I promise.
And in sport, is female-male equality on the rise?
Well, for a period of time, you know, they've won the Ashes, they've won World Cups.
I got myself really lucky as a 23-year-old to be a professional contracted cricketer.
Good afternoon and welcome to Quays News. Now we start the show with some breaking news. A missing teenager, Chloe Fitzsimmons, has been found safe and well. The 14-year-old went missing from Bury Town Centre at around 5 p.m. on Tuesday.
Her family were described as being worried sick and had said the disappearance was out of character. There is now relief as she has returned home.
Now, moving on to our top story today, female life expectancy in Greater Manchester is the lowest in the country according to new figures.
Women here will live for 80 years according to the Office for National Statistics, compared to the national average of 83. This has sparked demand for more services to support older people's health and social care needs. Here's what some people in the area had to say about it.
Can you think of anything that can be done for older generations' health and social care to help increase this number?
I am sure that there are ways to help loneliness, for example, in older people, particularly older women who once, because men tend to die younger, and a lot of women would have lost their husbands and a lot of their friends, that there's an element of loneliness which would kick in.
Now, Salford International Media Festival kicked off this week. Media moguls are joining together to debate the current climate in the media.
Experts in the sector are delivering keynote addresses to broadcasters, students and more. Together they could be changing the future of the media. And Kate Troy is with us now. She's going to tell us what lies in store. Kate, are you there?
There she is.
I am here, yes. So we're here at Media Festival UK, here at Salford University, and today we're based on the next generation. So this is going to be about film-filled workshops it's led by industry leaders, and we spoke to a few of the keynote speakers around here, which is going to be about talking about the quality and the lack of equality between the industries and the creatives.
That the industry, for all it's made progress and for all it does wonderful things, the creative industries and media is insufficiently diverse. It's too white and male.
Well, there's definitely been an improvement in diversity from when I started working at the BBC in 1989. But what we've been talking about is how it's actually gone backwards since 2006. So since the recession hit, there have been fewer diverse people working in the media.
As well as having political and economic devolution, and there's a lot of discussion about devolution in the wake of the Scottish referendum, that we need to have cultural and creative devolution as well. There's too much of a focus on London, and we need to allow all the talent and creativity that's outside London to have a fair crack of the whip.
Now, the festival brings students and media industries together across the 2 days, and here it's creating fantastic opportunities for them to discover and to learn. Now here in the DPL behind me, it's got fantastic jam-packed interviews such as with Jeremy Kyle, Bill Turnbull, and also with many of the Salford alumni. Now, you can join us next week on Quays as we face many more fantastic opportunities with the festival, and we'll see you then. Thank you very much, and back to you in the studio.
That's brilliant, thanks Kate. Now, you've probably woken up with him time and time again, but we managed to grab him earlier just after breakfast.
Yes, this person that we're talking about delivered a speech at the University of Salford called From Street Riots to Comfy Sofas. Let's see who we're talking about. And it's Salford International Media Festival this week here at Media City UK, and we're delighted to be joined by BBC broadcaster Bill Turnbull.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, Bill. We're just going to start by telling us why you're actually here this week.
I got invited to come and speak to the students here about, I suppose, one or two lessons I might be able to give them from my 35 years, I think it's 35 years, in journalism, and tell them a few stories about how I got to where I am. And although I'm not sure what they could usefully learn, because technologically things are so much different now to the way they were then. But I think we had an interesting time.
Yeah, and just on that, how do you think news values and audiences have changed? How has that changed your job?
Well, there's been this revolution in technology, particularly over the past 20 years. So digitally, it means audiences have become much more fragmented. It means the networks, BBC and ITV, have a harder job holding on to their audiences, because people are getting their information in so many different ways. But technically also it's a much more complicated job, but easier in some ways to get the story in as well. So much more to think about. Deadlines much tighter. You have to work harder now.
Yeah.
Now, journalism is a constantly changing environment. Now, mobile journalism is a new sort of trend within the industry. Have you experienced using any mobile journalism, such as using your mobile to report on stories around the world?
I haven't, because I'm sort of a bit of an old horse in that respect. I don't get out to report very much because we're in the studio, and just occasionally we get sent out, but we're doing live broadcasts, so it's not the same. But you have a situation now where on a mobile, you can make a documentary on a mobile phone, which is phenomenal, and edit it too, which makes broadcast journalists of everybody, potentially, which is very exciting.
Yeah. And what for you in your career so far is like any kind of standout moment or something that's been memorable?
Well, there have been lots really. I don't think one really stands out, because there have been different things at different times. I remember big stories I've covered over the years. It's thrilling to watch the President of the United States getting sworn in on the steps of the Capitol once. Yeah. I also saw the President of the Russian Federation getting sworn in also in Moscow. So I've had that pleasure. There have been very big dramatic stories. There have been tragic stories too. I've had the great pleasure of meeting some very famous and important people. Nothing really stands out as such, but I've been very lucky.
Yeah, to have a few moments. Thank you so much for coming in to us, Bill. It's been great to have you here.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. That was an interesting chat, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You had some really inspiring stuff to say about that, so it's really nice to have him into the studio.
Yeah.
But moving on now to one of Salford University's alumni students, Karima S. Sabah has been back to visit the university over the past few days. She's now the CEO of the Centre for Drug Rehabilitation and Research in Canada, and was recently voted one of Canada's most powerful women of 2013.
Yeah, she hosted a seminar to guide students onto their desired career paths. We sent Jim O'Reilly to find out more.
Excellence is important. Don't shoot for mediocrity, shoot for excellence, always.
I'm here today at the University of Salford Alumni House for Karima S. Sabah's inspirational talk to students about her career in drug research development, 35 years after graduating with a Bachelor of Science from the University of Salford. You have multiple awards, including 2013 Canada's Most Powerful Women. What do you think it takes to be a powerful woman?
I think you have to be able to engage people, and people feel engaged when they feel they're listened to. I've always said that relationship building is a two-way thing. When you have relationships that you've established, it's easier to get things done. But also, I think it's having the people around you, your teams, that if your team buys into your vision, it's much easier to influence others to come along, because you're not doing it alone. You have to be able to have them see why your vision is important and the value of it. They have to feel it. And that comes through good relationships and good communication of your vision.
The evening ended with Karima accepting the award for the Best Alumni Student of 2014. You talked before about soft skills. Do you think it's important for the students of Salford to be developing these critical skills now?
I think it's important for students of every university, in every undergraduate program. Frankly, I think that it's important starting from high school. I think these skills should be taught, at least at a minimal level, and then ramped up when you're at university. Because just think about it, kids have great ideas, but if they can't communicate them, if they don't have the communication skills, how are they going to advance the implementation of great ideas that they have? So I think the earlier that you learn these skills and the earlier they're built into curriculum, the better.
Jem O'Reilly, Quays TV News, Alumni House.
Now, the world-renowned website Facebook is now working on a new career social network to rival LinkedIn that will allow users to keep their personal profiles separate from their professional accounts.
The website, with the iconic blue and white theme, will enable users the ability to chat with colleagues, connect with work contacts and collaborate on documents. The company is said to be building the network in the hope that employers will allow Facebook at work.
Now, of course, send us your thoughts about this by tweeting us at Quays News with the hashtag #FacebookAtWork.
OK, now it's time. I'm going to jingle my way over to Tom, our film buff, who's going to talk about the third instalment of the Nativity films. And this is called Dude, Where's My Donkey? So is it as bad as the title suggests?
I'm just going to start by saying this is the worst film I've seen all year.
Really?
And incidentally, it's November, not December, so why they're bringing a Christmas film out this early, I do not know. Now, I'm going to explain the plot to you.
Yep.
Bear in mind, this is a children's film, so let's see if, because I couldn't keep up, let's see if you can.
OK.
TV's Martin Clunes plays a teacher who's sent to a school to stave it from an Ofsted inspection. He also has to deal with Mark Wooten's Mr. Poppy, the most irritating character in cinema since Jar Jar Binks. At the same time, Mr. Poppy's trying to win a flash mob competition in New York. He's got to marry Catherine Tate, save her from her love rival, and at the same time, he also gets amnesia.
Right, OK.
So,
and why do people spout out these kind of films then? Do they still get an audience?
It's dross. I mean, it's just punch card cinema. I mean, blimey Charlie, it's just reference after reference. It's called Dude, Where's My Donkey? That's a reference to a film that came out in 2001.
Yes.
It's 15 years later. No one who went to see this knew what Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
I tell you what, when you're doing Gangnam Style, you're not scraping the bottom of the barrel. You're down to the centre of the earth amongst the bubbling magma with how far you're going to go to try and get a laugh out of people. It's dreadful. I mean, absolute dross of the highest quality. And the songs. It would be rude to pick on children because,
yeah,
and I'm not going to.
And we're not singing along, no?
Oh, I can do it. Dude, where's my donkey? Where's my donkey gone? Absolute naff all the way through.
And what are Martin Clunes and Catherine Tate doing in this film?
Well, I'll tell you what Martin Clunes is doing. He's sleepwalking through it. He saw, probably a couple of zeros on a paycheck and just wandered through, sort of like, yeah, and I'm playing a character with amnesia. Catherine Tate's doing her old shtick of, yes, I'm Catherine Tate from the Catherine Tate Show, and it's a real shame because I've seen them in things, and they're both good actors. And in this, absolute dross, as I keep on saying. I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
This was like watching other people's children in a nativity play without the unexpected joy of someone falling off stage and giving you a little bit of a laugh.
And Tom, so it doesn't sound like the greatest film, but obviously some people are going to see it. Who's going to want to see it?
The one thing that I liked about this film was there was a little girl in the screening. She was the only other person there. She danced along the whole way through. So if you're a small girl, maybe you'll like it.
Yeah.
But if you're an adult, steer clear. You'd rather get a lumpy jumper for Christmas than this.
OK, thanks a million, Tom. Thank you. Well, moving on, I got to learn a little bit about healthy cooking in a cheap way this week. As part of the healthy food lifestyle, sorry about that, Lifestyles at the University of Salford, a workshop for students showed how we can ditch the fast food and make cooking fun instead of hard work. There's nothing quite like the sight and sound of great food. But trying to reach the culinary heights of Michelle Roux or Delia Smith on a budget is a different story. So I decided to stick my apron on and learn how to make a healthy meal in 20 minutes at the University of Salford Food Workshop.
So obviously students are, on a budget, they've only got, minimal funds, so it's just showing them how they don't need to eat takeouts every night, and, cooking tasty food is easier than you think.
So, with chopping a few vegetables and getting my hands mucky, next Nigella here, and with a little bit of frying, I have managed to construct a veggie burger. All this with a few cheap ingredients and within a short space of time.
In terms of the Healthy Lifestyles Fortnight, we've tried to encompass all elements of health, and obviously healthy eating is key to that, sort of keeping in terms of fuel and in terms of your mental health, particularly around exam times. It's important to make sure that you're eating healthily and keeping yourself well.
So I've learned lots here today at this cookery workshop. I'm going to try and start eating a little bit more healthily, but right now I'm going to sign off and enjoy my food.
This is Siobhan Maguire, Quays TV News.
These are lovely. Lizzie, you're a sporty girl. Do you eat healthily?
Funnily enough, I actually don't eat healthily, just eat chicken all the time. But anyway, from chicken to football. Now, FC United of Manchester were in action on Tuesday night as they took on Frickley Athletic. Lewis Smith has more.
FC United went into their game with Frickley Athletic looking to make it 5 games unbeaten, but got off to the worst possible start when Max Leonard gave the visitors the lead in the 20th minute. The Reds responded well, and after having a penalty shout for handball turned down, they equalised through Craig Lingfield just before half-time. The second half turned into a midfield arm wrestle, but United took the lead on the 77th minute through James Knowles' header. Frickley Athletic refused to yield, however, and looked to have secured a valuable point on 85 minutes when Reece Thompson jinked through to equalise. The scores were only level for 2 minutes, however, as Tom Greaves poked home to secure the win for FC.
And that win puts United up to 4th. They play Stourbridge on Saturday. Elsewhere, Wrexham face Altrincham, Chester host Bristol Rovers, and Macclesfield are looking to extend their unbeaten league run in 7 games at home to Alfreton. In the Conference North, Hyde travel to Chorley, Stalybridge host Oxford City, and Stockport are away to Fylde. In the Evo Stick Premier North, Ashton United are away to Witton Albion, Cairns and Ashton play Matlock Town, and Trafford are at home to Halesowen Town. And rounding up Manchester's non-league action in Evo Stick First Division North, Droylsden travel to Spennymoor Town, Mossley face Prescott Cables, and Salford look to end their bad run of form at Lancaster City. And remember, you can keep up to date with all of Saturday's football on our website feature, Football Live. More and more interest has been shown in women's sport recently, and equality between the sexes in sport is on the rise. The England women's cricket team gained full-time professional status in May, and now another major advance in the game has been made. Every match of next year's season will now be covered on mainstream TV and radio, whereas previously only select games were shown. However, after winning 2 Ashes series, the sport has gained even more interest. David Taylor has more.
Earlier this year, England women's cricketers retained the Ashes in Australia. It was a further example of the outstanding performances and achievements of the team over the past few years. And next year, during the 2015 Ashes on home soil, more and more people will be able to witness their talents live, as Sky Sports Television and BBC Radio have announced they'll be broadcasting every ball bowled for the first time during a women's series. One of England's Ashes heroines last winter was Mancunian Kate Cross, who believes the development of the women's game goes hand in hand with its increasing media exposure.
When I was 9 years old, I didn't know who was in the England women's team, but now you can see the girls coming through actually have role models, and they know who the team are, and I think that comes down to the exposure that the girls have got. But equally, I don't think that exposure would happen if we weren't doing well.
The announcement comes at the end of a hugely positive year for women's cricket, with the central contracts awarded in May, meaning female England players are now full professionals like their counterparts in the men's team. A move that has undoubtedly made the pressures of being an elite sportswoman easier to handle.
Well, it just means that we can focus a bit more on cricket, and there's no worry about where our money's going to come from, because we're being supported by the ECB now. I class myself really lucky as a 23-year-old to be a professionally contracted cricketer.
So what do the men think of the women's game? I asked another Lancastrian and Ashes hero, Andrew Flintoff.
Yeah, well, the women have been successful for a period of time. You know, they've won the Ashes, they've won World Cups. They've been more successful than the blokes in recent years. Everyone enjoys seeing a national side doing well. And England women have done that for a period of time. So the next step is, I was looking at the Ashes fixtures for next year for the women, and there's no game at Lords, which I think is a real shame. You know, they're tending to play on the outgrounds a little bit, where I think the next step for it is to play on the major international venues.
Now on the media centre stage, if England women perform in 2015 anything like they have done over recent times, you wouldn't bet against Flintoff's prediction. And in the future we may well see the likes of Cross and her colleagues performing at test match grounds such as here at Old Trafford. David Taylor, Quays TV News, Lancashire County Cricket Club.
That's all for today.
See you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Brilliant, guys. Well done.
Yay.
Lizzie, you did great there. Really well done.
Yeah.
Fantastic.